Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can implement room database in your application, and then we'll retrieve data and display it on the recycler view. So we are going to uh, use the room fully functional. Let's start with adding some dependencies as we need it for each project. So I'm adding those. So first of all, we need room runtime. Set this one. We need another dependency, that is uh, room compiler. uh, okay, spelling is ROOM. Add this one. As I said, like, we are going to show it on a recycler view, so let's add the recycler view dependency, this one. Let's apply it and let our project to be sync now. Meantime, let's add some packages. So I'm creating a separate package for DB, where it is going to keep all the database related files. So first of all, we need a database class. I'm giving it as a name app database. Another class we need uh, for entity. So we are going to use as a user. And one more class we need, that is the DAO. Let's get a name, and it's the interface basically, not the class. User DAO. So let's implement the app database. So database class. So first of all, we need some annotations, and main thing is, like, this class should be the abstract class. And inside it, we need to pass our entity, that is the user in our case. So I'll implement user later. First, I'm implementing the database class, and we need to give the version name. Currently, I'm giving it as a number 1, version number 1, so we can change it later whenever we make any change in the future, so that time we can change it. Another thing, we need the abstract function, which is going to return the DAO. That's it. We just need to define it. And now we need to create a instance of our database class. Now we need a function which is going to return this instance. And this function need to take the input for the context. So when this instance is null, at that time only it is going to initialize that instance variable, or creating a new variable. So it's this simple concept of singleton. And the third parameter is our database name. So you can give any name. Getting some error. Okay, yeah, allow in main thread and then build. That's it. I'm still getting an error. Let me see what we are missing. Okay, first thing, like version have 2 equals, and I think second one is, oh, we forgot to extend this class, I think. Yeah, so we need to extend this class with room database. There you go. So that's it for this class. Our database class is ready to use. Let's move to the different user class, our entity class, and let's implement it. Give it a name, annotation as the entity, and I'm creating just 2 fields here. That is, I'm going to give it a name as the first name, last name, and UID is going to be the auto increment, like a primary key. So we are going to just insert 2 values, first name and last name, and then we'll be retrieving both the values and displaying it on the recycler view. So let me give it as a primary key UID, and it should be auto generated so that we don't need to insert it, and it will be automatically insert. And this is going to be the column info, the column in our database. Give it a name, any name you can give it what you want to see in your database. Similarly for the last name. Yeah, that's it for our entity. Now let's implement our interface user DAO. Give it a annotation DAO first thing, and then we need to simply write the function for query, insert, delete, update, anything you want. So I'm writing first of all the query, which is simple query, which is going to select all from the user table. So it is going to return all the records, so it must be the list type. So let's see now. So it is going to return the list of users, and the function name is going to be get all user. That's it. Now for similarly insert, just need to give it a insert and then the function name void and give it a name insert user, and it is going to take the object of users. That's it for this. And one more function, delete. I'll see if I can implement this delete function as well, but all depends. But I'm writing it in the DAO. But it's also going to take the input as the user object. Our DAO is also ready now. So let's use them in our main activity. So let's come up with the UI part. So let me add recycler view in this main activity where we are going to display all the records from the database. So I'm adding just one recycler view and one button which is going to launch add new record activity where we are going to take the input from the user. So my recycler is done. Now I'm adding a one button, add new user button, and its constraints. and I'm giving it as a name also, add new user. Yeah, our UI is ready for main activity. Let's go and create one more activity. So that is for the add new record. So I'm giving it a name, add new user activity. And let's add the UI for that also, layout. So I'm adding here two added text. One is to take the input for the first name, and another one is to take the input for the last name, and a button which is going to store insert, which is going to call insert, or DAO, that is going to insert the record, both the values whatever user is going to insert in it. So it's simple UI, that's it. And this button I'm just giving ID as we needed, and setting up the constraints and giving it as a text, as a display text, save. Yep, that's it for our this activity as well. Now let's implement this add new user activity first. So first of all, I'm creating a separate function, save new user. This is going to take the input, so we need to read both the added text values. So I extract the save button as well, and now we need to handle its click. So let's handle the save button click. And once the button click, we need to call this function. And this function is going to pass the value what user is going to enter in the first name edit text and the last name edit text. Now we need to get the instance of database and call our insert function of DAO. So let's see how we can do that. Since it's a static function, so we can call it by the name and simply passing the context. And we can simply call insert user. Now we need to build the user object. So create a user object. And simply we need to set the first name, what user entered, and the last name. And then pass this user object to insert function. And once that the code is inserted, then we will close this activity. Now let's go back to our main activity. Initialize our button, like add new user button, and on click of this button we'll call that adding a new record activity. So similarly I am handling its click now. So I'm going to call it not the start activity, I'm calling it start activity for result. So as soon as one record is added, then we'll need to reload our recycler view. So I'm calling it start activity for result. For that we need to pass two parameters. One is intent and the request code. So I'm passing a request code as 100, and in that case we need to override one function on activity results. So when that activity get closed, in that case on activity result will get called. And we need to check the request code, what we give there 100, so same code will be there. Now we need to initialize our recycler view. So let me create a separate function for that. So this is the good habit to create multiple functions so that your code looks neat and clean and it's easy to understand. So this function is to get the records from the database. It's the same thing what we did to insert, but instead of insert function, here we are going to call the get all users. That was the query. And it is going to return the list of users. So when we have list, then we need to set it to the recycler view. So our most of the part is done. Now we just need to set our data to recycler view. So let's create another function which is going to initialize the recycler view and setting the adapter and lot of stuff. So now I'm retrieving the recycler view from our layout. Now we need to set a linear layout manager. So recycler view dot set layout manager and new linear layout manager and pass the context. And for the separator in the recycler view, you have seen one small line, so that is known as item decoration. So let's set that as well so that our each records look separated. add item decoration and pass this divided item decoration. Now we need to set the adapter to our recycler view. Set adapter, but we don't have any adapter, so let's create an adapter now. Give it any name. I am giving user list adapter. Now implement this adapter. Override these functions of adapter, creating a view holder class, separate class. A constructor for this my view holder. Now we need a layout as well, how our recycler view row will look like. So let's create that as well. Another layout XML. So I'm keeping it as a linear layout itself. I'm just adding two text view so that we just need to display a first name and last name, so we don't need to worry. So just simply adding two text views. If we have more content, like you have 2-3 fields, then you can add multiple text views here, and simply you can add the multiple fields in your user entity. So our layout is ready. Now use the same name here, whatever we gave our text views there. I'm keeping it in the global variable so that we can access it from the onBind view holder. Now we need to change our view holder. Yeah. Now we need a constructor for this adapter class so that we can get context. So let's declare the context as a global variable, but we need to initialize this context variable. For that we need to have the constructor. Another thing, we need the data, the list of users. So let's declare it as well. And then we need to create a separate function for that so that users can set it this data from the activity. So let's do that. So this function set user list will call from the activity when we retrieve it, and then we will set here. If you are using MVVM, then you can set this data from the view model itself and then call the notified data set so that our list get refresh. And we need a constructor, so that constructor will get the parameter context, and this context can be initialized. There you go. Now we need to implement these two functions as well, on bind view holder and on create view holder. And this item count, this is simply going to return the size of our list. Now we need to inflate our layout. The row layout row we have created, so we need to inflate it here. And it is going to return our my view holder and pass this layout inflator view. And here we need to set the value what we received from the outside. Just simply set this first name and last name. Similarly for the last name as well. Our adapter is ready to use. Now let's go back to our main activity and initialize it and set to our recycler view. Now we set the adapter to our recycler view, but still we need to call the set list data. So when we retrieve that inside the load user list function, then we need to set our user list. There you go. And this load function will call at the launch of the main activity, and when we are going to load, when we are going to add any new record, at that time that activity will close and this activity will reload. So let's review our code. We are almost done. Main activity, yeah, looks good to me. Okay. Yeah, everything looks good to me. So let's run it and see. Yeah, run it and see. So we don't have any record in our database, so nothing is there. Let's add one record, one user. Click on save. There you go. So we can retrieve it. Let's add another record. Save it. We can't see. Oh, I think, let me, I know what's the issue. Let's go to our layout view. So it's grabbing the whole screen. Record is there, but it's grabbing the whole screen, the one record. So we need to set it to the wrap content instead of match parent. Yeah. As I said, record is already there, but the first record was grabbing the whole screen. So let me add one more record and see, show you. There you go. Guys, that's all for today's video, and thank you so much for watching. If you have any question, you can ask me in the uh, comment section, and you can find the code link in the description. Thank you so much. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.